Welcome to A Day in Miami. I am your host, Anabel, live from the studios of Miami's Community News. We are so happy that you're watching, and today's special guest is Senia Rowley. She is a broker associate with Emerald Realty, and so happy to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Today's show is sponsored by Heyday Marketing, a public relations and marketing agency based right here in Miami, Florida. If you want your quotes for PR or marketing, please look at the scroll below and call the number on the website. So let's get started. Senia, tell me a little bit. I want to start with the market trends.
Sure.
What have you experienced in your position as a broker associate?
Sure. So I think one of the biggest questions of the year or the last few years has been, when's the right time to buy? Should I buy now? Should I buy next year? Should I wait? Interest rates, and then all this chitter chatter about the Fed. Really, the market right now, Fed has said that they're going to eventually start to taper off the interest rates towards the end of the year. And what happens is that every single buyer that's kind of been on hold for a little bit, they all start to wake up out of hibernation, right? So as people start waking up, competition kind of goes up, right? Interest rate has kind of stayed the same, relatively for the last few months. I see right now buyers starting to come out to avoid the hectic chaos that could potentially happen. I mean, no one has a crystal ball, right? But waking up to avoid that potential chaos that could happen, like we saw back post-COVID, right?
Yeah.
And starting to get up and buy now. So I always tell people the right time to buy is when it's right for you.
Interesting.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm an active buyer on the market right now, looking to purchase for myself. I think it would be scary if your realtor tells you I'm not buying at the moment, right? So I think that's probably comforting to my buyers as well when I tell them, look, like I'm looking too, I'm just waiting for something that's right for me. Because if you try to play this game about timing the market, really no one's really able to. So if you think you're going to stay somewhere long term, do it, because the market, it's hot. Miami is a beast of its own. It is a beast of its own. Nationwide, sales have dropped. For Miami-Dade, numbers have stayed the same last year to year.
For sellers and buyers?
For sellers. Oh, I'm sorry. For sales on the market.
Okay.
Actually, median. So I always encourage people to go and look on miamirealtors.com.
Okay. Yeah.
All the statistics are there, and that's free to the public. And you can educate yourself instead of listening to someone who you think might be right or you suspect could have the right information. Look for yourself. But look online and you'll see. So I think February might be down a little bit, but there's a lot of things to take into consideration. We're still coming off of the lull. This is typically slow season anyway.
Okay.
So you can't really do those comparisons. But that being said, year over year, Miami-Dade has stayed pretty resilient. Median home price has gone up.
Yeah.
So there's so much, people don't realize there's so much money in Miami. People have no clue.
And that's like speaking on behalf of like individuals making money or just in general?
Yeah, there's a lot of things to take in consideration. So the average salary that they say for Miami-Dade, I feel is very, very conservative. A lot of people are cash businesses in Miami. People do cash only, and then that's not reported, So salaries, I mean, you still have your, blue collar people that are working. I mean, the world needs to work, right? But so many people have come from exterior places, and there's a lot of foreigners that are putting money here, and they don't even care if they're losing value-wise because they're investing in the US dollar.
Interesting. Right. Like, of course, like with Venezuela. Yeah. Like, so they're coming and buying cash, basically. I mean, that's what I heard.
Yeah.
I'm not in that market.
Mostly from, for example, this is actually a really good example. So I had a tenant that was looking to rent, and his budget was around $7,000. And we found this unit in
$7,000 a month?
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of do it all. And that's I have a tenant for $13,000 right now that I'm working with. Yeah, and you have to make 3 times the rent to qualify.
Right, of course. Yeah. I could only imagine.
And this is a second home for him. Yeah.
Wow, nice.
So this is a really good example to indicate the effect of foreign buyers.
Okay.
So we found this unit in beautiful Brickell Key. Love Brickell Key, and they were asking $7,500. Actually, I think they were asking 8,000. I lowered them to 7,500.
Nice.
And I was looking at the history, and they had bought that unit 1 year prior for 1.2. Okay, kept it empty for a year, so they were losing money, paying property taxes, paying the association, which in Brookwood Key there's multiple associations to pay to.
Okay.
And then they get this tenant to pay $7,500. They're losing money. An average rule of thumb is you want to make 1% of the price, the purchase price, as an investment or as monthly income per month. So if you buy something for 1.2, that should generate roughly, right? This is super give or take,
like $10,000,
$10,000 to $12,000 a month,
gosh,
and they're
insane.
getting $7,500. And so I looked, and
I wonder
it's a
why.
Mexican owner.
Oh, he like basically he doesn't really care. He just wants to occupy it. Like
No, he doesn't want to occupy it. He's purchased a few, and he just puts his money and pops it somewhere,
Sweet.
and you're investing in the US dollar.
Right, I get it.
Right?
Well,
So
it's
even
going to
if
increase
you-
in value, and then when he
Yeah.
sells it,
Then he goes to sell it. I mean, even if
Yeah.
it's a wash, for him, he's moving money. It's money movement.
right.
You know? Had a buyer pay $400,000 over appraisal just because he wanted the unit so bad.
Oh my goodness, that I am hearing
Yeah.
about, because it's the value of land.
It's the value of land.
Yeah.
It's like appraisal value is very different from market value.
Okay.
Right. So your appraisal value, depending where the market is, your appraisal value can either be a little bit more or a little bit less.
Okay.
And it depends. And it's little subcategories that you wouldn't think of, but there's pockets of areas that, okay, you can purchase under. But if you're looking at places like Shenandoah, Silver Bluff, Coral Gables, Coconut Grove, you're probably paying more.
Yeah.
Why? Because it's very central. Those have extremely high demand.
Right, because of prime location.
Exactly. Close
That's
to everything.
amazing. And now tell me a little bit about your journey to becoming a real estate agent, or anybody that wants to become a real estate agent. What
Yeah.
tips would you give them? And why did you choose this career?
Sure. So I think it's funny that I thought that I had any other choice, but both of my parents are in real estate. My stepfather, who raised me, is a developer.
Nice.
And my mom was in real estate from all the way back. She has a journey. She lived in Montana for 20 years. That's where I was born.
Way. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Funny enough, side story, I love Yellowstone.
Awesome.
They fight about land all the
Or
time.
what's the other show, 1823? Or there's another
yes,
show.
the one-
So
yes.
good. Really good. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
But Montana has blown up just as much as, I mean, I looked at where I used to live, and the land value there is incredible.
I could only imagine.
Yeah.
How beautiful. Yeah.
So I got licensed about 7 years ago, but I initially, when I was in college, started off as a psych major,
Interesting.
you know, trying to go against the grain, typical, right? Just out of high school. And something wasn't clicking. Something wasn't. I mean, I love psychology. Real estate has a lot to do with psychology.
I could only imagine. You have
know.
to learn your client or customer.
You have to learn your client. And I
Yeah.
think for me is building a relationship with not just your customer, but whoever it is on the other side as the agent, the listing agent. So
Listing agent.
if I'm working with the buyer, I need to make a really good relationship with that listing agent.
Right.
And I need to be able to read them so that I can, and I act differently with everyone, right? I'm still always myself, but my responses will always be different based off of what it is that I know about that person, right?
100%.
And I've had deals where I've worked with that previous agent, and I'll call him like, look, tell me where we're at. What do we need to do? Where do we need to be at? Tell me what the price is, right? And having that rapport
Yeah.
is built through psychology. So
100%.
I'm very happy. You know, you're a product of your micro experiences. So I'm super happy that I did psychology. I think it's helped in my benefit. But I immediately, after my first year, switched to real estate. And so I
it's like, oh,
graduated
that's hilarious. Right
from
away.
psychology to real estate. And I graduated. I graduated FIU, with the focus in real estate. And it's kind of messy the way that I remember it, only because so many things were going on. But I got my master's. I figured, why not? I'll just go do my master's. I don't have anything, you know, I don't have children, and, you know, so I just thought I would go. It's the time to do it.
Yeah.
And then I said, let me become a broker too. Let me get everything out of the way.
Nice, smart.
And be able to, you know, check mark off every single thing that will make me the best agent possible.
I love that. Like, so you can help someone from point A to point Z.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Exactly.
Okay, cool.
So to become a broker, you have to be active for 24 months in a 5-year period.
Okay.
So immediately, as soon as I could, I said, I'm going to become a broker because I knew that I wanted to grow eventually. And as a broker, you can grow much quicker than as a real estate agent.
Okay. And you do work for Emerald Realty Brokerage, and we can pull that website up.
Absolutely.
So you were telling me a little bit before the show that you're the only broker associate in that company.
So there could be many broker associates.
Okay.
So a broker associate is you have a broker's license, but you're not the broker of the brokerage.
Got it.
So I like being more boots on the ground realtor.
Okay.
Than being more of a like a management position. Correct. And the managing broker anyone who's at the top is going to be managing the agents that are underneath them. So I'm effectively an agent underneath them, but I have the title of a broker associate, and that's why they say broker associate. So you're not to be confused with the broker of the brokerage.
Got it. And so, okay, this is the website. So these are all the individuals that work there.
Yes.
So what does your day-to-day look like?
Day-to-day, every day is different. Honestly,
it's a beautiful website.
Thank you. We just rebranded. We used to be Elite Realty Brokerage, and I never really loved the name. So I love Emerald. Why? Because Emerald is a multifaceted stone. It's also my birthstone. Not that I'm biased.
Were you born in May?
I know that I'm biased. Yeah.
No,
so
beautiful.
Emerald is a multifaceted stone, and we are a multifaceted brokerage.
Love that.
We take care of everything from A to Z, like you said.
Yeah,
so
I love that.
I have experience with DSCR loans, which is more of an investment loan, debt service coverage ratio. I have experience with cash, hard money lending, investors, end users, luxury condos, single family, duplex. I sold a fourplex just recently.
Interesting.
So
and you can sell and rent.
Yes.
So either one. Oh, okay.
Correct. So I just sold about 2 to 3 months ago. I sold a fourplex, and I helped him on the other end rent out the units.
Okay.
Yeah. So he purchased it as an investment.
Really smart.
And then I was able to rent them out for him.
That's efficient.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So they could just go on the website if they want information.
Absolutely. Okay. Yeah. And then you should be able to click my page, and then you can search. Like you can click my name, and then you can search.
Profiles on there.
Yeah.
Are you right there?
And then you should be able to search from there. My contact info is there, but I usually like to have a phone call with everyone initially before ever really getting started on browsing. It's always good to look before.
Yeah.
But the real estate market in Miami it can be kind of
hectic.
So it's good to talk with a realtor first.
Okay.
So they can steer you in the right direction, so you're not driving yourself crazy. Yeah.
Right. Because a lot of people want to do it on their own. Right. Yep. Look. And so it's just better to, it's funny. Every time I've ever rented obviously bought, I needed a realtor, real estate agent. But even with renting, I've always used an agent because they help you. Well,
on the tenant side, it's free. You don't pay for it.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Right. On the buyer side, it's also free.
Which is interesting. Yeah. So. Okay.
Yeah. Huh. Well, I mean, there's an argument that it's not free, that it's effectively.
I'm sure there's some percentage in there somewhere.
There's, you're effectively paying it on the back end. Right. But would you rather, if it's included in that price, wouldn't it be better to have it almost financed instead of paying $30,000 to your realtor as the buy side?
Yeah.
Most people don't have that money on top of closing costs, on top of their down payment.
It's a lot.
It adds up.
It's a lot.
And that's part of the lawsuit that's going on.
Okay. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, there's a lawsuit for commissions where, effectively they're saying, why should a seller pay both sides of commission?
Okay.
It's been like that forever.
Okay.
Right? We're supposed to say that commissions are negotiable, which technically they are, but I have my price. I rarely reduce my fees because I know the service that I give.
Excellent.
Right? So, they're trying to say that buyers should pay their own realtor's fees and sellers should pay their own. But think about it. So if someone's buying, let's say average price in Miami-Dade, I think is $650, give or take now. Okay. Let's say you're doing 10% down. That's $65,000.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, you mean for like a single home is like about $650?
Yeah.
That's still like
for Miami-Dade.
For Miami-Dade.
Miami-Dade, yeah.
Okay.
Not Florida.
Got it.
So, that's $65,000 plus closing cost. I like to be conservative always with my numbers. So say $15,000, right? That starts adding up. You're at $80,000 now.
That you have to put down in order
right?
to purchase a home, right?
Yeah, that's $80,000.
Yeah.
And then if you have to pay your realtor's commissions, add another 3%.
Yeah.
That's a lot, right? Most people can't do that.
No, of course not.
Most people can't do the 10% down because the market's tight. Inflation is high.
Yeah.
And salaries haven't really gone up.
They haven't.
Right?
And I think that's the issue.
For the working class, right? For regular people.
Yeah.
So it's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. But there's still someone that will come in and has the cash too. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
what is
again,
that?
Beast of its own.
Exactly.
So many things to look at and consider.
And so what sets you apart from other realtors, and I can already say for myself, knowing you, is the customer service that you do give. You want to get to know the person, right?
Yeah. I think and a few people have asked me my niche. I feel like my niche is customer service. I don't like being someone, maybe my mind will change in 50 years, and I expect to be doing this for a very long time. So 50 years is very realistic for me. But I don't like the idea of volume causing people to get lost in my pipeline. I don't like that idea. It drives me crazy. It's one of the reasons why I haven't got an assistant, because I want people to know that they can reach me. I want people to know that they can call me, Senia, what's going on, instead of call so-and-so, she'll take care of it from here. Right? The reason why you're working with me is because you have me, right?
Exactly. Like a personal touch. Yeah. I like that.
So I think at some point, because things get very hectic, especially when I have a few deals in the pipeline, I kind of don't have a choice, but I need someone to help. But I don't, I'm telling you, it's my biggest fear. Someone ever thinking like, Senia just put me underneath everyone else just because she wants to close the deal and she's taking care of other people, right? I want to always be that agent this is transparent. This is how it is. I always say I'm not a salesperson. Although I'm in sales, I'm not a salesperson. I am a person that helps facilitate. I'm a vehicle to taking you from whatever it is that you want to and helping you facilitate your goal. So if your goal is to purchase a property, I will help you do that. I will hold your hand based off of whatever it is that, the way that you want it to be done.
Right.
And I take you from A to B. I'll tell you pros and cons. I'll tell you what's good, what's not.
And what are some questions? Yeah, through the eyes. So what are some questions that you will ask? Like, for example, like if I'm your client looking for a home, what are some questions you would ask me?
So I have a buyer intake form.
Okay, perfect.
And because it keeps it very simple.
Okay, good.
Right. It keeps it very easy. I usually like to sit down and do an in-person consultation if possible. If not, we'll do one over the phone. But we go over desired bedrooms. Are you starting a family soon? Do you have a family? Do you need a yard? Do you have a dog? All those things that people don't necessarily think initially.
Right.
But I want to be able to walk into a house from the eyes of my buyer and look at those things that they might be looking at.
I love that.
Do I want a split floor plan? Right? All those little notes. So I usually take my buyer intake form and I ask them all these questions because I want to know what's important to them.
Right. Is there such a thing? It's funny because I came to this conclusion recently that I think young married couples should have like queen and kings, like 2 quarters, like king quarters and queen quarters. Yeah. So like, is there like 2 master bedrooms in a home? Like,
not
is that something
usually.
Typically?
So it happens. So where I mostly see that is in 2-story homes. You always want to have a master on the first floor. That is extremely important for resale. Why? Okay. Gravity is not nice to us. Years are not nice to us. At some point, you're not wanting to go up and down those stairs, when you're 60 years old. You're starting to think about, okay, I need to be, need to be more cautious. And then you're 70. I don't want my grandma going up and down stairs every day to get a glass of water, right? So you want a master on the first floor. Okay. So one will probably be called the junior master, and the other one's the official master.
On the second floor.
Usually it's on the second floor, but it depends. Most developers now or builders are putting them on the first floor for that reason.
That is so cool. Obviously, unless you design the home yourself.
Yeah.
You know, but I was just wondering if, because I know in Georgia, I had a lot of former family in Georgia,
Nice.
and a lot is like 3 stories. That's a typical home in Georgia. And they
Wow.
do have, like a few masters.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, they obviously, if it's a married couple, it's usually like a guest room. And I'm like,
Sure.
no, I want my own room. When I get married again,
Sure.
I want my own room.
You do you.
Yeah.
I do me.
And then you can come to my room sometimes, and I'll go to your room sometimes.
Yeah.
But that's interesting. Okay, thank you for telling me.
Yeah, of
so,
course.
what is the contract timeline for somebody that is buying a home? Can you go into that, like inspection and all of that?
Absolutely.
Financing?
So standard, if you leave the contract blank for inspections, it's 15 days. Now, most people don't really do 15 days just because of the competitive market. You want to have a shorter inspection period to tell the seller, hey, I have less time to back out of this contract. So you don't have to be sweating every night for 15 days thinking, what if this buyer backs out? Right. So if I'm a listing agent and I receive a contract with a 3-day inspection period, I'm doing my happy dance because I only have to worry for 3 days.
Yeah.
I mean, there's worries, you know, there's loopholes here and there that people could use to get out of contracts, but that's the biggest one.
And you've seen that? Like people get out of contracts? Like they really?
Oh, I've
so
seen
sad.
So many. Yeah.
Like you're almost done with the entire like contract timeline and then boom, they back out.
Well, things can happen, right?
Yeah.
Like if right before closing, your lender will confirm that you're still employed. They'll make sure that you haven't went out and bought a Lamborghini and taken out, you know, this huge loan to be able to buy a Lamborghini, or as innocent as it might sound, financing $30,000 of furniture because you're excited to buy your next home.
No, you have to wait.
You have to wait.
I know. With my first home, I remember we couldn't touch anything.
And if that happens, now you don't qualify.
Because it takes like, I think it's like a few weeks and then they have to requalify you.
So the financing period is 30 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you don't do everything in 30 days, they have
You need to do everything in 30 days. You need to get your approval, and there's conditional loan approvals, which kind of get into the more of the nitty gritty, but you effectively want to be approved within the 30 days. Average timeline to close is 45 days.
Got it.
So you have like 15 days after that to maybe get any minor things that may have been on the conditional approval, you know, small things. Right. You never want anything big on the conditional approval to be pending.
Right.
Small things like, hey, explain, you know, the underwriter will make little notes of things that they have pending, but usually it's not a big deal. And then you should be closing within 45 days. Yeah. Yeah, you should be closing within 45 days. That's average, but it can range from 30 to 60.
And I know that you communicate this with all your customers. Don't touch your credit. And they still do.
And they do it.
Why? I don't get it.
Well, I don't think some people realize
the gravity of the situation.
Correct.
Like, okay, right. So they think it's going to be like innocent, like you said earlier.
Yeah, it's innocent. It's, oh my gosh, I'm buying my first property. I need a new couch.
No, just wait. Yeah, right.
It's an innocent mistake, but it can cost the sale of the property.
Absolutely. And we don't want that because we want you to have your home.
Yes.
So now, how to get an offer accepted in a competitive market? Okay, that's an interesting question.
Yeah, that is a good question because I think most people are very nervous going into the buyer's market as a buyer.
Right.
Now, technically, we're in a buyer's market based off of months of inventory that we have.
Okay.
So I think personally, if I could buy right now, I would push to buy. I just haven't found anything. I'm very picky.
Yeah.
You know?
How funny. That's awesome. You still keep looking.
I still keep looking.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I find off markets here and there.
Nice.
And if it doesn't work for me, it'll work for
someone else.
A potential customer. Sure.
I love that.
But again, going back to the inspection period, if you can reduce that inspection period to maybe 7 days, it's a much easier pill for the seller to swallow than 15 days of, like I said, maybe sweating at night, worried about if the contract's going to fall through, right?
Right.
So sitting with your agent and taking into consideration what it is that you want to offer, what your goals are, and also looking, you know, again, going back to the relationship thing, I'm listening to what the listing agent is telling me, right?
Right.
So I'm saying this is what I'm hearing, and I'm saying this is what I'm hearing from you, and this is going to be the most competitive. So reducing inspection period, that's key. Doing not a significant escrow deposit, but something that's going to say, look, I'm serious, I have skin in the game.
Yeah.
Not offering $2,000 as an escrow deposit on a $700,000 purchase. Right. Because if something happens, the seller's saying you're only losing $2,000.
Right.
Right? That doesn't hurt.
Right.
Right? So listening to your realtor, especially if your realtor is an educated and experienced realtor, they'll be able to tell you, okay, this is what you need to do to make your contract the most effective and stand out, even if you're financing, because sometimes you're going against cash offers that, cash offers usually don't have a financing contingency. Cash offers have a quicker closing. And those are kind of hard to.
There's nothing like, it's just like, here's the money, give me the whole.
Here's the money,
That's
give
amazing.
it to me. They don't have issues with insurance a lot.
No.
Now insurance is.
It's Florida insurance.
It's crazy. Yeah. Insurance is so difficult.
Yeah.
But depending on the prospective buyer, sometimes I'll have them write a letter. I know that's been going around, and some people say that it's not helpful. It doesn't hurt. So do it.
I like it.
This is who I am. I did that for a rental about 5 months ago, and they went with my prospective tenant, and they told me after.
I love that.
They said the only reason, or one of the reasons why we went with you is because we saw that you were having a baby, and we wanted a nice family to be in here.
That is so special.
They had offers for a few $100s over what we were offering.
That is,
so you never know.
You never know. That's interesting that you say that, because when I moved to Key Biscayne, I wanted to purchase 3 years ago, and I should have, because now it's $200,000 more for a 1-bedroom condo. It's like 550. I know it's horrible.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Should have. I know.
Miami's so different.
It's crazy. I sold my house for $360 in Miami Springs, and I said, there's no way I'm buying a condo for the same price for a 1-bedroom, but it's location. But it's interesting because there was dual incomes. It was just me moving into a condo, and the landlord, she chose me because of my profession. At the time, I worked with a state attorney. She said she's, honest, like I could trust her. She's been with the state attorney for 3 years.
Yeah.
So it really does help. And I gave them the reference, like, if you want to call them,
yes,
make sure that I'm reliable.
It's huge.
So she went for me with one income over others with dual income.
Yeah.
If one of us lose their job, I mean, it's just me.
Yeah.
So it's very important. So I like that you said that.
Yeah.
Like a reference letter, even for renting.
A reference letter, even for renting. I'm doing a rental right now, and it's like pulling teeth trying to get a reference letter. I just need one person to call and say, hey, was this person a good person?
That's it. And, and that's very important. I'm glad that you do those background checks, because you never know.
Always.
Yeah.
Always, always, always. Because
I
don't want my landlord to be upset with me, right?
With someone that you don't really trust. Absolutely. In case something goes wrong.
I want to do everything. And I want that tenant to stay there for 5-6 years.
Yeah.
Even though one would think it'd be in my best interest to have someone, return people over every year so I can work it.
Right.
But that's not the case.
No, you want somebody to
I want them to be happy.
Exactly.
Because when they decide to sell, I want them to call me.
Exactly.
Because they know that the service is going to be much different than 90% of the other sharks that are in Miami.
Sharks in Miami.
Out for,
it's true.
Out for a few bucks.
Yeah, I love that. Well, thank you, Senia. And again, your website, they can contact you there. If they have questions, they can just call you, make an appointment. You could do a face-to-face, consultation or over the phone.
Absolutely.
So if you're looking to buy or rent, make sure to call Senia Rowley.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us. And thank you for watching. And today's show is sponsored by Heyday Marketing, a public relations and marketing agency based right here in Miami, Florida. If you have any questions, if you want a PR quote on a campaign or marketing campaign, just look at the website below. Thank you.